Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. I can't believe I am actually sharing this. It still does not feel real, even though I've known for many, many weeks now. And as you would have already seen from the podcast title, I am pregnant. Crazy. If you're shocked, I would be 100 times more shocked than that. It just honestly feels surreal. I always knew that I was going to have kids, and even despite my history of hormone imbalances and chronic health issues, I just know the power of the human body and also the power of belief. So after being told age 17 that I'm going to struggle having kids and will probably need to go on fertility medications and things and being on the pill and then not having periods at all, even once they returned, I was basically infertile for many years, just wasn't ovulating, even though I was having a regular bleed. I have healed and my periods came back and I was ovulating in the past few years. My health has been in a really good place. And this was an unplanned pregnancy, but I truly believe, and so does my partner, this is totally meant to happen on the timeline that it has done. I'll give you a little overview in today's episode of what's happened in the first trimester, how I'm doing, and then if you want more detailed story time, please let me know. But I just wanted to get it out there today and just give you a summary of everything. At the time of recording, I am 11 weeks pregnant and I have my 12-week scan next week. If I am releasing this, obviously all was good at the scan, and I will be 12 weeks or 13 weeks when you hear this. So you're in on the loop now, and I am so happy to finally get it off my chest because I hate feeling like I'm keeping something from you all and just keeping this huge life-changing secret. I have told a lot of my close friends and family members pretty much from the get-go because I just wanted people to be in on this, and we just wanted to tell people and have them be excited as well. But sharing publicly is a little bit different, and I've been kind of hinting that there's going to be some new things coming in 2026, a brand new project, and it's Project Baby coming June 2026. So this will be the last Christmas and final year where I'm not with child. I'm not a mother. So yeah, this is the update, and I'm going to go through how I found out and then how I've been feeling. Overall, it's been really, really good. I've had moments where I felt nauseous and tired and had some weird and wonderful symptoms, but overall, I have got through the first trimester pretty unscathed compared to some people who really struggle and they literally can't function or get out of bed or work for the first trimester. I am really, really grateful and happy that I felt so good. And I truly believe that it's all of the work that I've been doing over the past few years. So this is just a reminder. Obviously, we can't control everything, but you can massively influence your experience of pregnancy, postpartum, but even your chances of conception with this type of work. And truly, I feel like the reason it's happened now is because I am just so happy and I'm just so in alignment, and me and my partner are just so aligned and in love. And that's what happens when you also don't use contraception. The fertility awareness method kind of failed me, guys, and I don't think I still very much promote it. I think what happened, if you really want to know the details, I must have conceived around my birthday. And typically I ovulate around, or did, around day 14 to 18. But I think around the time of that, I was ill. So I saw that my temperature spiked and stayed high for a few days. And it was around that time. And I thought that I must have ovulated because it was in that fertile window that would make sense. But I don't think I had ovulated. And then obviously I had unprotected sex and conceived. And that is the only thing that I can think of, is that the temperature completely threw me off because I wasn't symptomatic at that time. I think the symptoms started a few days later. So just be mindful that things can throw off your temperature. But I also think it was just divine intervention. If me and my partner would have gotten to the stage of planning it a few years down the line, I think I would have gotten too stressed out about it and too regimented and just over prepared. And if you know anything about me, I've always wanted to be a mum, and even the past few years, just with turning 30, I'm now 31, it was something that I really had in my mind and was just asking different friends and practitioners, even on the podcast for a while. It must have been last year. I was really overthinking it and just what would I do with my business and what would this look like and what would that look like? And I'm gonna have to have time off work. And I was just getting stressed out about it. And then I really just let go of all that and really deepened my trust and surrender. So I feel like it's just the ultimate lesson from the universe that the one thing that I wanted to control and plan and organize the most is the biggest surprise of my life. Things typically happen like that. It took definitely a couple days to process and for me to let it sink in. And I was just really overwhelmed and confused because it just wasn't in the timeline right now. And I'm not set up with certain things with my business. I'm just gonna have to wing it and change up my offers and do things in a bit of a different way and really just let the universe support me. So it's a big lesson of surrender and trust. And yeah, it's just been a whirlwind of a few weeks. I found out pretty much straight away. Like I ovulated, yeah, around the time of my birthday, and then I just saw that my temperature was way higher than usual. So there's a natural spike that happens in the luteal phase, but it was just really, really strong and stable. And usually that would only last for 12 to 14 days max, and then I'd get my period, my temperature would drop. And these days, recently, I don't really get any symptoms in the luteal phase, sorry. But this time I was getting cramps like a week before my period was due. I now know that they were implantation cramps, and they were a bit different than regular period cramps anyway. So I don't get pains anymore, but I've had them in the past, and they've just felt different. It's more like a pulling and dragging sensation, and it was happening. If it would happen in the past, it'd be when my period started. This was happening a week before my period. Still didn't think anything of it because I was just convinced, or I was just I just did not think that I would have conceived that month, because when I thought I was fertile, I was really, really careful with my contraception. So it was very much a massive shock come day 15 post ovulation, where I still hadn't started my period. And I know that the maximum length of that luteal phase can only be 16 days. And either then you're pregnant or you start your period. Like that corpus luteum can only last maximum 16 days before it either disintegrates and the cycle starts. So I was on day 15. I was also getting really tender breasts. And then I had a day where I was just really emotional and quite angry and frustrated with everyone, which also isn't normal. And yeah, the breast tenderness was quite strong as well. But I'd had that in previous cycles in the past too. I just thought maybe I'm having a really bad cycle. I think I was starting to get sick around that time too from that previous temperature spike. And I just always thought I would know intuitively when I'm pregnant, but I was just like 100% no, like there's no way. How has that even happened? But something was telling me to go and get a pregnancy test. The first one I've ever taken, by the way, and it ended up being positive. But I got a pregnancy test and did that on, I think it was Sunday the 5th of October, and flipped it over, pregnant. I did not record my reaction. I'm pretty glad. I just thought it was going to be negative. I was so shocked when it was positive, and my partner was there, and he was like really chill in that moment. And he was also very convinced that it was going to be negative, and I was just stressing out and just like get peace of mind and you'll get your period soon. But yeah, something was telling me like something's weird. This is going on for a really long time also. Where's my period? And it just was not starting. So I did the test, positive. He was like, do another one. They're not accurate. Do another one, even though it's 99.9% accurate. And I did another one within 30 minutes and just watched that turn positive within seconds. So it's very, very strong. Some people have the slightest faint line. Mine was just like, boom, bright as anything. And yeah, our heads were all over the place. We'd only been dating for 3 months. We got together on, I think it was the 1st of July, and I found out that I was pregnant in September, October. Our relationship from the get-go, like we've been together since the first time that we met. We saw each other every single day, and other than recently in the past month, we'd only been apart a day maximum. Because he went to Lanzarote on his own recently, for 5 days. And we had been together, yeah, a few weeks, but our relationship from the get-go has just been fast forward. And we've just been like a married couple since we met. We met each other's families within like a week or two, told each other we love each other within the first couple of weeks. I travelled to Scotland to meet some of his family. That month that we met, he already had a trip planned. He was like, do you want to come with me? So at the end of July, we went there. We went to Lanzarote for the first time at the end of August. So we holidayed together, met each other's family, like just completely bonded and connected, and then fell pregnant month three. So things can change really fast. People, just a heads up. And to think that I was actually in another relationship in January just blows my mind. But I knew that something was not aligned in that relationship. So I ended things in January, went on this big healing self-love journey again because I realized I just thought being in a relationship was the most important thing because there was so many years where I wasn't in a relationship when I had health issues, so I put it on a pedestal and I felt uncomfortable being single. But then after a lot of deeper inner work and meditation and all of these things, I come May, and especially after the retreat that I went on in May, I was so happy and content being single, being on my own. I knew that my partner was out there and I could actually hear, it sounds crazy, but I was getting messages like, I'm coming for you. And he actually said, my partner, that because he lived in Canada, he's from the town next to me, but he'd been living in Canada until May and came back to England because of family situation. He'd been living there for 14 years, so there was no way that we were going to meet until now. And he would be out in the wilderness in Canada, and he said that he would be talking to his wife, to his partner in his head, and he felt the draw to come home not only for his family, but he said he felt like his partner was here as well. He's very spiritual too, not in a not in a feminine woo-woo way, but just like very grounded and embodied in his spiritual practice. So we met a few weeks after that. We connected on good old Hinge dating app, and we met up, and I just instantly felt a connection when we saw each other, which I've never had before. And then the rest of the date, like I was a little bit unsure just because he is just so different in some ways than me. Like he's very adventurous. He's lived in a different country for so long. And I love like organization and planning. And he's so free spirited. I was like, he seems a little bit wild for me. But by the end of that first date, I even text my mum, he's crazy, but I love him. And since then, yeah, he showed a different side, and we just fell in love very, very quickly. He said from the minute he saw me, he was in love with me. I've heard that is true for men and women. The women can be a little bit unsure at first, and then the men is like, no, you're mine, I'm going to pursue you. And that's exactly what happened. I just want to check, are you addressing the healing foundations? Not sure what I mean. Well, these are the important factors that I believe that you need to address in order to be in optimal health and overcome your stubborn health issues and symptoms, whether that's chronic digestive issues, acne, hair loss, period problems, weight gain, anxiety, fatigue. I could go on. Because I want as many of you as possible to have this life-changing information, I've bundled together 6 of my juiciest and info-packed masterclasses priced at just £111. Not only are you getting these recordings, which are between 60 and 90 minutes long each, on the following subjects: the power of the subconscious mind, stress, trauma, and the nervous system, supporting your female menstrual cycle, mastering your metabolism, optimizing sleep, gut health and detox. You're also going to receive my healthy groceries shopping list and my favorite non-toxic products guide, which are both usually reserved for my one-to-one clients. Whether you're brand new to the holistic healing world or you've been trying to work on things for a while but feel stuck, I can guarantee there's something within this content that will help you to understand your next steps and what you're missing. Sometimes it's something so foundational that's being overlooked. Get instant access to the Foundations bundle today for just £111 by clicking the link in the episode show notes, and I can't wait to hear about what you've learned. Grab your pen and paper to make notes and get started today. So I found out pretty much 15, 16 days after I ovulated, positive test. Even the night before I did the test, I had a dream that it was positive. I was at the doctor's, did a pregnancy test, it said positive, and then the next day it was positive. And I've put here, I've just got some notes. I had cramps, I had sore boobs, and I was very short-tempered. And then my temperatures stayed elevated. And for the following weeks, I'd say from weeks 4 to 7, 8, my digestion just felt very sensitive. And I did feel a little bit nauseous and sickly at times. I was never sick, and it wasn't extreme, it was just being waves. It would be sometimes after eating or when I got too hungry. It was really a fine line because you'd be nauseous if you didn't eat, and then as soon as you eat, if you eat too much, I describe it as being like when you've had food poisoning and your stomach's just, it feels really small and sensitive and like you can't eat a lot and your appetite's a bit off. My belly was very gurgly. Didn't struggle with constipation or anything like that. Like my bowel movements were regular as ever. My skin was pretty good. And then it had a bit of a flare up weeks 9 and 10. I know it's calming down again. I think there's a big surge of hormones that happens around that time. But what else? I was really off fatty foods and milky drinks, teas, coffees, matcha, which if you know me, it's not like me at all. Didn't want to drink milk, just anything fatty and creamy. No, for a few weeks. My tolerance for food and my appetite started to come back around week 7 and 8. I was on holiday as well. If you remember, I went back to Lanzarote because it was already planned and I would have been 6 weeks pregnant at the time. And on holiday, we were so active. It felt like I was training for a triathlon or something because my partner is very active as well. So we were biking. We biked to the city, which was, I can't remember how many kilometers, but a lot. I was absolutely knackered at the end of it, but I think staying active really helped. And anytime I did feel a bit off or tired, just going out for a walk even, I would feel better. It was just that initial momentum to get going that was hard. My boobs stayed really sore for a few weeks, and that has calmed down now. Like they're a little bit tender still and have grown, like they doubled in size the first couple of weeks. I had a heightened sense of smell, and different, smells and foods would make me feel a little bit sick. My skin was pretty good at the start. I had a few breakouts on my, like the sides of my face and my shoulders and my back, which are typically more hormonal. A lot of burping and gassiness, like upper GI, and my sleep has been a bit disturbed as well. My HRV has taken a hit. Um, the average before was like 80 to 100, and now it's 25 to 40 on average. And just disturbed sleep, that's getting better too. But around 3, 4 a.m., I was waking up and then just staying awake for like an hour, 2 hours, having to snack in the night. So I'd have a protein bar in the middle of the night when my appetite started to return because I would just be insatiably hungry and couldn't get back to sleep until I ate something, especially protein. I was craving more soury, zingy foods. So even on holiday, and I went for a walk in my neighborhood early on, and I just needed to have a Fanta. So I had a Fanta berry flavor or something, and that was exactly what I needed. Just like fizzy drinks, orange juice, olives, sour like fizzy sherbet sweets, like fizzy gummies, sour candy was really good to me. But I was feeling really calm and just accepting, despite the first few days of chaos and my head spinning a million miles an hour. After that, I think it's the mega high dose of progesterone. I just felt really calm and accepting and just like I'm in a dream-like state, which was nice. And then what else? Week 6, when I was on holiday, my lips were getting really dry and cracked because my gut was a bit off as well. I said that I was getting some bloating, especially at night. My belly looked more swollen. I've definitely put on a bit of body fat, which is to be expected. And sometimes I have a little bump going on, but other than that, it's not really visible for another few months. Week 7, I felt a shift in my energy. I was way less tired because some days I didn't really see a pattern either. I was just absolutely exhausted. Like we'd visit my parents' house before going to the gym because they live right near. And as soon as I'd sit down and have a cup of tea, I just did not want to get back up. So my partner would go on his own and I just had to lay there. And that started to get a lot better too. My skin was starting to get really, really glowy. And people were commenting on Instagram, like, what skincare are you using? Like, you glowing. And I wanted to say it's the pregnancy progesterone glow. What else? Week 9, I was starting to feel stronger in the gym too because I've worked out this entire time. I've been doing Pilates. My friend Katie opened a studio the week after I found out I was pregnant, and I'd already booked on the first week every single day. So I was there supporting her, getting my Pilates in, and have at least done a workout a few times a week. But I'm getting back into my strength training properly now because initially my muscles would just feel really, really tired and sore, and I'd get elevated heart rate and feel really hot and sweaty just doing a simple workout. And now I just have so many moments throughout the day where I don't even feel pregnant at all. That's the majority of the time. They just feel completely normal. And then I'll look at my boobs or my bloated belly and I'll be like, oh, I am still pregnant. And I've done another pregnancy test a few weeks ago because I also wanted to get a photo of the positive because the first one, I took a picture of it a week later and it looked faded. So I've got some fresh pictures of the positive pregnancy test. And week 9 and 10, I had my midwife appointment. So I am planning on a home birth with a private midwife. I'll talk more about this separately too if you're interested. But just to get the scans through the NHS at 12 weeks, which is next week for me, and 20 weeks, I will be going through the NHS just for those things, and then everything else I'm doing privately. I'll talk more about why that is, why I'm not going completely NHS. If you're interested, I was getting a few headaches. I was back on raw milk, craving dairy. Yes, I am still drinking raw milk. I've been eating and craving pate and deli meats and things. So I am not stopping those. I'm being smart with it, but I yeah, I was really craving crisps as well a few weeks ago, and my skin started to get bad week 9 and 10, and I think the oils of the crisp and just because I'm not used to it was contributing. So the crisps have been knocked on the head and I'm eating as clean as possible with the occasional meal out where I'll have a burger and fries, gluten-free, as you know. I've started to see week 9 a little lower bump bulging in the womb area. Week 10, oh my God, week 10 last week, I woke up and my skin, especially on my legs, was so dry and it was just like I was shedding. And I also think that my hydration has just not been where it needs to be because of those prior weeks where I felt really sickly sometimes. I just lost the habit of drinking fluids because that would fill me up too much and I don't really like plain water. So I just forgot to increase my hydration again. And I think I was just very dehydrated. So my skin was flaking. I've also started my moisturizing because I've never really done that because my skin's quite oily. And now I think the weather, the lack of water, and the need for more minerals and a good skincare routine now is important. And another new symptom recently, as unpleasant as it is, but I know it's super common in pregnancy, is thrush. Amazing. I don't really have many symptoms. The only one would be like sometimes after sex, a slight stinging sensation. My partner noticed the same. So I had a vaginal swab done and it said that I had a yeast overgrowth. So I'm treating that currently with homeopathy and it's already responding really well and vaginal probiotics and things for the flora there. But the immune shifts that you go through and the increase of estrogen, it can proliferate yeast overgrowth. So I am doing what I can for that, but also hoping that it settles down really soon because it's just not ideal, but just being honest with you all. So next week is my 12-week scan. That's at my local hospital. And by the time this goes live, I would have already shared on Instagram, so you can go over and look at the announcement post on there. This is a first trimester recap. I will definitely be talking more about pregnancy because my whole life has shifted, and now that I'm looking more into it, it's just so fascinating the how the body changes and how quickly the baby grows inside of you. I have an app and it shows me week to week how it's changing, and I just can't believe it's doubling in size every week. I think it's now 4 centimeters, like this big, if you're watching on YouTube. And I am just so grateful and lucky. I know a lot of people struggle, and a lot of people have been trying to conceive for years and years now. Even some of my clients, like I know what people go through. I obviously can't relate to that emotional intensity and stress and grief that you must feel every month, but as shocked as I am, I'm also so grateful and I know that it is truly a blessing and a gift and the baby will be so loved and it's just come a lot sooner than I planned. I am 31. My partner will be 37 once the baby arrives, and yeah, it's going to be sometime in June. I'm probably not going to give the exact due date because they're also not that accurate either. But that is my update. I'm so happy I finally got this off my chest and recorded this episode. You're going to hear me talk more about it, but it's not going to be everything pregnancy focused. My offers are going to have to switch up because usually 6 months coaching is my go-to, but I this is how everything kind of works out because even a few months ago in summer, I trialed for the first time ever a mini package. So my coaching journey is going to look a little bit shorter with 3 month coaching. So if that sounds better to you, this is the perfect time to hop on board because there's going to be a little maternity break that I have in summer, but I am still taking on clients and supporting you all, whether it is fertility related PCOS, digestion, get in touch. Check out my Instagram and my email newsletters that always has the latest updates. But I'm glad that you're in on the loop now. And if you're going to be following along, maybe you're pregnant as well, it is so good to have you. So I will see you back here next week. We're on the last few episodes of 2025 now. And I am if you're listening to this, I'm so happy to have you here. And I will see you next week.